What's going on, Jerome's? Happy Thursday. Happy Thirsty Thursday. Sun is shining, birds are chirping and stuff. Here with another Vikings news dump while you're dumping. First up, Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who is not Carl Gerbschmidt, talked about Justin Jefferson's return. Kevin O'Connell spoke in non-urgent ways. Justin Jefferson's return, said he will be acclimated back in and through a preset timeline. He's killed his whole rehab and done things right. Everything we've asked of him. So that's the thing where they did open up the 21-day window for Justin Jefferson to return to the 53-man roster and suit up and play. But Saints game probably a little bit too aggressive in terms of him coming back from that hamstring. It has been 4 weeks since he's been on IR. Now, Broncos game is more realistic. Maybe. Bears game, certainly. But I do like that they're going to treat him with kid gloves and basically just be like, hey, get to 100%, maybe even 105% if that's possible before you come back, man. Also, our guy Eli Corbit is absolutely on. I mean, look at this. Come on. Although, where's Josh Dobbs? I get it's the receiver room of KJ and Addison, but where's Josh Dobbs? He's literally a rocket scientist. Like, you're telling me that he can't run this alien hyperbaric chamber? I don't know, man. I don't know. Speaking of Josh Dobbs, so, Dobbs doing his Kirko impression. Alec Lewis, the Athletic, go. Vikings quarterback Josh Dobbs said he has spoken to Kirk Cousins, who has been in the facility. Said the first thing Kirk Cousins said to him was this: any question you have about the offense or anything, don't hesitate. And Josh Dobbs, question number one: do we have to pay for our own dinners at the team facility? But Kirk, they already said that Kirk's going to be very much involved in terms of working on the sidelines, working in the meeting room. Now, Kirk, his personality, like, he doesn't want to make it about him. It's not about me, it's about we. And you notice that every single Jets game, Aaron Rodgers is out there throwing pregame, making himself a distraction, pouting on the sidelines and stuff, where Kirk's not going to do that. I mean, sure, maybe Kirk will wear a helmet on the sideline like he does in preseason, which would be hilarious. But again, Kirk's about the team, and I feel like that's something about this locker room, this culture, where they really are all about each other versus themselves, man. And with Dobbs also, he said this on Wednesday, quote, "If you don't show up and play next week, nobody cares about last week," which is true. And yeah, the game is absolutely fantastic. It'll be one of those most memorable Vikings games, and Dobbs rightfully won the NFC Offensive Player of the Week after he kind of stunk early on with the fumbles and stuff. But it's exactly right, where people remember that stupid Baker Mayfield game where he went to the Rams and led them to a victory on like 2 days of practice, but he sucked the rest of the way. And with Josh Dobbs, like, if he's booty the rest of the way or Jaron Hall takes over, like, it doesn't matter. But I think Josh Dobbs has a great head on his shoulders. I think that he's a great supporting cast. I think Kevin O'Connell and the coaching staff are doing phenomenal work with him and could have something going, man. Absolutely. And speaking of which, the Vikings currently are tied for the second longest winning streak in the National Football League. Allegedly, the haters and the losers will say that this graphic is fake, but Jaguars, respect to Duval. I mean, 5 games in a row. Also, they're coming off a bye, and I think they have a chance to really starch the Niners in Jacksonville, which would be fun to see, man. But the Vikings are up there with the Ravens and the Bengals with a 4-game win streak. The Eagles allegedly have 3. The Eagles got beat by the Jets. Feels like that happened 2 years ago. And also, hey, 2-game winning streak. Hey, we could snap the Saints 2-game winning streak, which would be great, man. But, it's weird. So the Jaguars, the Ravens, and the Bengals, they all get the attention from the national media jabronis. But the Vikings, yeah, they just get no love, for reeling off 4 straight wins, including one against the Niners, by the way, including 3 on the road. And probably they should beat the Chiefs. Like, this should be a 6-game winning streak. But I digress there. It's all good. Next, so we already discussed PFD's power rankings. Mike Florio, that's not a thermos, but breaking it down into the top 10. I mean, basically when I do my power rankings, it's sort of like how you rank wild animals. Like, would a grizzly bear beat a leopard in a fight? Probably. What about 2 leopards? I don't know. But that's the whole thing, is would this team beat Team X on a neutral site? And you look at his top 10. Eagles, sure. Ravens, sure. Even though the Eagles are flawed and the Vikings should beat them week 2. Jacksonville, Studley. I think they're super underrated. Chiefs Chiefs got some flaws, man, and the Vikings should have beat the Chiefs. The Vikings did beat the Niners, no big deal. The Dolphins can't beat a good team. And then also you got the Lions, who I think is relatively fraudulent. The Bengals are coming on, but also they're suffering a couple of key injuries. And then you got the Cowboys and the Seahawks. Now, I'm zeroing in on the last two. Are you worried about the Cowboys? No. Not particularly. I mean, Dak is hot and cold. The defense is under DQ is still good, even with injuries. As well, CeeDee Lamb is really coming into his own. Sure, but are you really scared of Dallas? Not particularly. And same thing with Seattle. I mean, Seattle got boat raced by the Ravens in Baltimore. But yeah, you're putting the Seahawks above the Vikings, huh? Noted. Noteworthy. No big deal. But something to keep an eye on as we go forward. Also going forward is the I was going to say the opposing running game, but really it was one drive under Tyler Algier. But Andrew Kramer, Star Tribune, pointed this out. The last time the Vikings had a top 5 run defense, a journeyman quarterback led them to the NFC title game. Woo! No big deal. No big deal, man. Where the Vikings, as of right, in terms of yards per attempt allowed, are 5th in the league at 3.7. Now, that's pretty damn amazing, especially when you tack on the Tyler Algier basically went 75 yards on them for the go-ahead score at the end of the game. But, I mean, the Vikings defense, I mean, it's come along, and like we said, the defense last year was ass, thank you, and you don't need to be top of the league. You just need to be middle of the table, and that's what the defense is doing right now, and they're rising. I mean, the defense is a big reason why the Vikings have reeled off these 4 straight wins and won 5 out of the last 6. I mean, the defense has done a really, really good job. But, again, I understand people are going to poo-poo. You gave up 28 points to the Falcons. Whatever. What about 10 points to the Falcons? What about 17 to the Niners? No big deal. 13 to the Bears. The Bears, fine. But the whole thing is that, hey, again, this doesn't have to be a shutdown 2000 Ravens defense or 85 Bears, but hey, we'll get you in a spot where we're going to get aggressive. We can get a turnover. We can do this, that, and the other thing. And no, I mean, is the 2023 Vikings defense as good as 2017? No. I mean, the Vikings had the best defense in the league under Zimmer and company back then. Respect. But can they be super opportunistic and get after it and make stops when they need to? Yes, absolutely they can. Also, speaking of Ken, so for Kevin O'Connell's next trick, he's going to try and do something with Nick Mullins. Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who's not Carl Gershman, backup quarterback Nick Mullins, who is eligible to come off IR this week, has not yet had his window open, unlike Justin Jefferson. But Kevin O'Connell said he is getting close. He is in a day-to-day mindset. Aren't we all? Sean Mannion is likely QB2 for Sunday's game versus Saints behind QB1 Josh Dobbs. So right now, Josh Dobbs is the only healthy quarterback on the 53-man rooster. Jaron Hall is in concussion protocol. Mannion is the elder statesman on the practice squad. They just signed Tanner Morgan again. So right now, there's 6 quarterbacks in the sphere, 5 that will be eligible at some point this year with Nick Mullins on IR. But from the sounds of it, like, they're not very hopeful about Nick Mullins. Like, if they were, I think that they probably wouldn't have done the Josh Dobbs trade. They probably would have just called up Sean Mannion to back up Jaron Hall against the Falcons. So I think the Dobbs trade, beyond it being huge value, was really just more about concern about Nick Mullins' back and going forward. But I do think that it should and could be Josh Dobbs and Jaron Hall as the 2 dudes who are going to be under center for all the, knocking on all the wood, obviously. But I mean, if Kevin O'Connell won a Super Bowl with Sean Mannion, that should count as like 6. Speaking of, I don't have a good transition as I try to bring up the Pelicans and the Wolves game. Hopefully the Wolves win. I guess we'll know by the time you see this. But so Roquan Smith was traded last year from the crooked Chicago Bears. Ryan Poles just making genius moves yet again, giving away good players and not paying them. But Roquan is one of the best off-ball linebackers in the game. He's one of the reasons why the Ravens' defense is top dog and their front 7 is hellacious. And Roquan Smith reflected on being in Baltimore and winning some ball games as opposed to seeing what's happening with his former team, the Bears. He said this, quote, "Man, it makes me so happy just knowing my career is not going down the drain." End quote. It's amazing. Where if I was a Bears fan, I would be so insulted. But if you take the temperature of the Bears fan base on social media, they're like, yeah, we get it. where you think that a former star who requested a trade basically forced himself out of town, it would be like, boo, F you, boo. Whereas now it's like, yeah, you're kind of right. Happy for Equan. hilarious, man. Yeah. Also hilarious is, so it's an ongoing trope that Al Michaels is basically a carnivore, right? So he eats meat, loves himself a good steak. Who doesn't? And also he despises vegetables, and he claims that he's never eaten a vegetable. Now, love me some meat. No big deal. Love me a good steak, a rack of ribs, eat a whole turkey on Thanksgiving, all that stuff, right? So meat is fantastic, but I got a soft spot in my heart for vegetables, especially pickled vegetables. Since I'm Korean, I got the stomach for it. Basically, you can make anything into kimchi if you believe enough in yourself. There you go. But Al Michaels lists his top 5 most hated vegetables, and this kind of sucks because they're all good. Well, 4 of them are vegetables. Asparagus, spinach, broccoli, onions, which are vegetables, and then he lists mushrooms, which are not. Mushrooms are not vegetables. Right? Mushrooms are fungi. Mushrooms are closer to animals than they are plants, but that's an argument for another day. Also, Al Michaels eating a steak. He's never had some sautéed mushrooms or some shiitakes. Come on. Or a nice, when they're in season, getting some morel mushrooms and dusting them in flour and cooking them in brown butter, a little salt and pepper, just a little bit of lemon juice. Come on, man. But asparagus is fantastic. Also, you know what's really stupid? Look up a picture of how asparagus grows. It literally just comes straight out of the ground. I don't know what I was expecting, like they grow in those bunches, but it literally looks like someone took stalks of asparagus and just put them in the ground as a joke. Anyways, spinach is good. Sauteed garlic spinach. Whew, come on, baby. Or some broccoli. Yeah. Well, at least he didn't list avocado, which is a fruit. And also onions. I eat onions on freaking everything, man. I think it's one of the miracles that I actually found a wife and she actually stayed around, because I always smell like garlic and onions. No big deal. What if we could pick that up? Anyways, last but not least, so NFL memes pointed this out, where you look at the color schemes of the last 2 Super Bowls. So 2 years ago, it was orange and yellow, and the Bengals and the Rams played in the Super Bowl. The Rams coming out on top only because of Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips. And then last year, it was the Eagles and the Chiefs. And so you had the aqua for the Eagles and you had the red for the Chiefs. Now, looking at this year's Super Bowl 58 logo, you got the red, you got the purple. So a lot of people were just like, oh, it's going to be the Niners and the Ravens. Oh, it's going to be Harbaugh Bowl Redux, except Harbaugh is in stupid Michigan for now before he goes to the Bears and all that stuff. Now, people think about this all along. Chiefs, Vikings, revenge for Super Bowl 4. Hank Stram, just keep matriculating the ball down the field, Leonard. So stupid. Bud Grant standing on the sidelines looking like a man. Hank Stram running around like a Chinese fire drill. So stupid. It's ridiculous, man. But hey, it's written. It's in the script. I've seen the script. It's beautiful, baby. But that's it. Vikings news dump for what day is it? Thursday? Sure. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.